I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that we're talking about a lot of light in the sky, because the title of tonight's show is A New Era. And that is because yesterday we had a new moon, a really fabulous one, at 27 degrees of Capricorn. And there were 6 planets in that sign. Capricorn is the traditional ruler of the 10th house of your career or your reputation in the community. And it also rules large government agencies and very large corporations. And because there were so many different planets in Capricorn, it also denotes management or people at the top in these organizations. Capricorn rules a lot of different things though, and that is why with 6 planets there, Saturn, Mercury, Pluto, the Sun, the new moon, and Venus, that a new era can be upon us now. And it is a new era that involves higher expectations and greater accountability and hard work and sacrifice, and a much greater emphasis on the traditional values of honesty and human or humane treatment of others. In other words, honesty and decency. And there can be a lot of reasons why we're entering a new era right now, but of course the most significant one is 6 planets in only one sign that rules time. And so this is an era is a long period of time. And so the 6 planets there can be indicating certainly a new era, but there are other things that are not going on that also emphasize a new era. For instance, there are no retrograde planets right now, none. All 10 planets are direct and heading forward. So that means we're going into something new, because they all are as well. There are no planets in any of the air signs. And so there's nothing in Gemini or in Libra or in Aquarius. So this is not the time for small talk or chit-chat or gossip or buying and selling and promoting or changes or transitions. There's none of that going on. And then there are no planets in the fixed signs except Mars and Jupiter, which are in Scorpio. Mars is the ruler of Scorpio, so that sign is certainly powerful. But there are no planets squaring or opposing these 2 planets. There's nothing in Aquarius, Taurus, or Leo. And so since Scorpio does rule justice and survival, this is a time when justice certainly will be done. There's nothing to stop it. And it will be done in a way that involves a little help from people behind the scenes, because Neptune in Pisces is beautifully trining Jupiter and Mars. And Pisces rules things behind the scenes. So justice will be done because there are others behind the scenes that know the truth about lies or cover-ups. And because these planets are entwined to each other, it means that information is going to come out. And we will actually still be able to concentrate a little bit more on the truth instead of things that are spun or in any way. There's also the fact that since there are no planets in the other fixed signs, that there can be an emphasis also on not only justice and survival, but on financial matters, because Scorpio is a fixed financial sign ruling credit, debt, loans, taxes, inheritance, insurance, or grants. It's money coming in from any other source, including family members or friends or even your employer. So since these planets are so well aspected, there could be good news for you financially, particularly on your job. That could be coming up. Another wonderful thing that is coming up is that the Sun and new moon in Capricorn were at 27 degrees. 27 is a number that reduces to 9. 2 plus 7 equals 9. 9 is the highest of all the single digits, and it indicates finishing. And so this new moon means, once again, that something is finishing or winding up, and that's why, again, a new era can be underway. But the Sun and the Moon we're conjuncting Venus, the planet of the law and love and marriage and fairness and partnership. Venus is at the critical and fateful 29th degree of Capricorn. So these three planets in close conjunction and simply mean that there can be a good, solid decision made soon that is based on proven facts and results. In other words, it's going to be somewhat impeccable, and that is because it's not based on hearsay or small talk or anything else. It's really based on proof. And it can be a good one and a fair one, because that's what Venus rules, and Venus is being conjuncted by the lights. And it can be a long time coming too, because these planets are in Capricorn. So that is all to the good. In fact, it gets a little bit better than that. And that's because the 6 planets in Capricorn are being so well supported. And the reason why is that on one side of these 6 planets, there is Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio, sextiling the 6 planets. And Scorpio's other ruler besides Mars is Pluto, and it's in Capricorn. But on the other side of the 6 planets, there is Neptune in Pisces, which is also sextiling those 6 planets. And that means there is a total of 9 of the 10 planets that are in very harmonious aspect to each other. This is extremely rare. And it means that they're all getting along and they're all supporting each other. So since there are 10 planets, there is one planet that can cause a little bit of problem, and that is Uranus, which is direct. It went direct earlier this month, and Uranus in Aries, the sign of new beginnings, is now squaring all of the 6 planets in Capricorn, and that can create some problems. So we need to look a little bit more closely at what those problems could be. Uranus is a very volatile planet. It does rule the future, and it rules anything that goes through the air, such as computers, or it rules aviation, it rules space travel, and it could rule anything that has to do with cyber problems at all, because it is such a volatile, unstable planet, and it is in a fire sign, so it can really move fast. And Uranus is the planet of sudden, surprising change. And so we need to look at what it's doing in its harsh aspect to all the planets in Capricorn. We can take 3 of them at one time, and that is because, remember, the Sun, Moon, and Venus are so closely conjuncting each other that they are in precise square to Uranus in Aries. Uranus is at 25 degrees of Aries, the Sun and Moon are at 27 degrees of Capricorn, and Venus is at 29 degrees. So that square is pretty exact. And that simply means, since Venus does rule love and the law, that love troubles or unlawful conduct by anyone could really ruin the reputations of people in high places. So there's that to watch out for. But Uranus is also squaring Pluto in Capricorn. And Pluto is a planet of deep transformation and change and psychological awareness. It particularly rules the deep truth. It also, since it is the co-ruler of Scorpio, and Scorpio rules war, it simply, Pluto rules things that are beneath the surface. So it certainly would rule submarine warfare, and it also rules nuclear warfare, and Uranus is squaring it. But Pluto can also, since it's in Capricorn, can be denoting people who are in tight control at the very top of something, the top of a corporation, or even the top of a country or a government. And because these planets are squaring each other, it simply means that people who are in tight control of something right now can be suddenly challenged by freedom-loving rebels. That could occur anywhere in the world as well. And then Uranus is squaring Mercury, the planet of the mind and of communication. And remember that Uranus does rule things that happen very, very suddenly, and they can be going through the air. So there is the possibility of a cyber attack right now, and that could happen to a large corporation or some government agency as well. And then we come to the big one. Uranus is squaring Saturn, the ruler of Capricorn. And so this is an indication, since Uranus rules a lot of different things, but volatility and instability are paramount, it simply means that somebody, perhaps with an incurable illness, who has absolutely nothing to lose, or somebody who is crazy, or who is a zealot, or who has been brainwashed, could suddenly turn on somebody who is an older benefactor. And the reason why they would be an older benefactor is because Saturn is the planet of time, and it does rule old age, and Uranus is squaring it. So that could be surprising to people as well. And so what it all boils down to is that no matter what this one unstable planet, no matter what it is doing, a new era is upon us, and that simply means that it will stay in place at least until 2020, or perhaps for the rest of our lives. Because remember, this new era represents higher expectations and greater accountability and hard work and sacrifices, and a much greater emphasis on honesty and decency. And so we have that to look forward to. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, it simply means that yes, Uranus is squaring all those planets under the new moon, or was yesterday, in Capricorn. But how about if we just turn that around a little bit, Aries, and instead we say that all of those planets in Capricorn, 6 of them, were squaring your sun sign, where you have Uranus. And there are no other planets in any of the fire signs, so that Uranus doesn't have any backup. And it isn't just being squared by the 6 planets in Capricorn, but remember, those 6 planets have 3 others surrounding them and supporting them. So there are 9 planets in really good aspect to each other. And that simply means, Aries, that if you want to do your usual pioneering thing, in other words, if you want to do things your way, this is not the time to try that. And the reason why is, you know, the odds are against you. And that is because Capricorn represents conformity. It represents staying within the group so that it can prosper and grow larger. It doesn't mean that you can just simply do whatever you want. And so this is a time when you will succeed by conforming. It might sort of cramp your style a little bit, but you will have to do that, Aries. And the reason why is that there will be more and more performance reviews. Capricorn represents results. It doesn't represent great ideas. It doesn't represent anything moving too fast. It doesn't represent, you know, sudden sparks of enlightenment. It represents results. And those results are by not skipping steps and by working really hard, usually to meet the higher expectations of people above you. And that's what you are really going to have to do under this new moon, Aries. So I hope that you are doing that willingly, because that's the way you could succeed. And there don't seem to be too many other ways you can succeed right now except that. So I wish you the best of luck. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is an excellent new moon for you because all 6 planets in Capricorn were trining your sun, which is great, Taurus. So it can mean that you're due for a step up or a better job, or you could be joining a large organization such as a large, very reputable corporation or a government agency that can offer you very good long-term benefits. That is, you need to go for stability, Taurus, and it looks like you'd have a great opportunity at that right now. So that's not your problem. Your problem is the fact that Jupiter and Mars in Scorpio are opposing your sun sign. And, you know, it means that you've got money troubles, Taurus. It can be in the form of higher expenses because you do have sort of expensive taste. But it also could be related to taxes or debts or the higher cost of credit, since interest rates will go up. But you do have a financial problem that you've got to work really hard to solve, because it's not going to get better. It could get worse, particularly if you ignore it, which I don't think you can afford to do. And so you may have to cut costs in one area or another in order to pay your bills down. And of course, we just had Christmas. So that is what you're going to have to address, financial matters. As far as your career goes, it could be looking pretty good. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time that since there are no planets in air signs, that it's not the time for small talk. It's not the time for gossip or chit-chat either. What it is the time for, Gemini, is it's time for you to be as quiet as you can. And that is because the new moon in Capricorn was 150 degrees away from your sun or in conjunct. And that simply means that you may not be too affected by directly by the changes that are coming about in a new era. But indirectly you could be, because there will be higher expectations and a much greater emphasis on results. So this isn't the time for you to talk at all, Gemini. This is the time for you to be as quiet as you can and sort of wait something out. You need to look and see what changes are going to be made. And if there are performance reviews or budget cuts or organization or reorganizations, you need to see what the fallout is before you say anything, Gemini. So this is a good week for you to zip the lip. All right, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, it would be hard to have more planets harshly aspecting your sun than now. And that is because all 6 planets in Capricorn opposed your sun sign, which means that when there are changes in corporations or large government agencies or reorganizations or budget cuts, they are going to adversely affect you, Cancer. And that's just the 6 planets in Capricorn. Uranus in Aries is also squaring your sun, which means that at any time that volatile, unpredictable Uranus could throw you off balance in one way or another. So it's lucky that Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio are trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces, because that simply means you can get the financial resources you need to make a change, and I think you might have to draw on those, or there can be information coming from behind the scenes that is based on truth, and you could learn what that is, and maybe you could make a change a little bit ahead of time if you knew what the truth was. But one way or another, I think that you are going to have to be spending some money to make a change, because there are stronger forces at work than you, Cancer, and they are making decisions based on results and perhaps business projections, not on human values. So you may decide sooner or later this year to move on, and that would be a good idea, and you'd have the money to do it. What does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when, yes, there is one planet in a fire sign. Uranus is in Aries, but it is so beleaguered by 6 planets in Capricorn squaring it that it can't be much help to you, Leo. And so you're sort of on your own right now, and that simply means that you really have to watch the money, Leo. And that is because Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio are squaring your sun. And they are not being stopped by anything. There are no planets in any of the other fixed signs, and they are backed up by a trine from Neptune in Pisces. So there is a financial matter that may involve credit or debt or loans or higher expenses that you will have to address, Leo. And so what can you do? In other words, you can't control the higher cost of living. I mean, if it just goes up, that's what it does. What you can do is save money right now, Leo, and that's what you're really going to have to do. So since your sign does rule extravagance, you're just going to have to pull in your belt a little bit and save, 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 because you are going to need more money this year, and that's to cover the basics. So you don't even need to worry about extravagance this year, Leo. You just have to make sure that you can pay for the basic necessities of life. And you can't do that if you don't have extra money, and that means you need to save. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a wonderful new moon for you, because the 6 planets in Capricorn were all trining your sun sign, and one of them was your ruler, Mercury. And that simply means that this new era of higher expectations and greater accountability and hard work and sacrifice and a much greater emphasis on the traditional values of honesty and decency are just what make you happy, Virgo. And in fact, there are so many good planets which are well supported in Capricorn and which are all trining your sun, that there can be a step up for you. Now, it doesn't mean you wouldn't have to work hard and make sacrifices. Everyone's going to have to do that until 2020. But it does mean that people in high places like you a lot, so they may be giving you extra responsibility, or you may be deciding to expand. And that's all right, Virgo, because I think that there are so many people that are confident about your abilities that you should be too. And you should not be afraid to go forward right now and face any challenge, because that'll bring out the best in you. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, yours is a cardinal sign, and there are 7 planets in harsh aspect to your sun sign, the same way there are for Cancer. And so Uranus in Aries is opposing your sun sign, but all 6 planets yesterday under the new moon in Capricorn were squaring your sun sign. And one of them was your own ruler, Venus, remember, that is at the critical and fateful 29th degree of Capricorn. But because Venus is conjuncting the sun and the moon, and there is the possibility of a good, solid decision being announced based on proven facts and results, even though these planets are in square to your sun sign, I think that when that announcement comes out, it could have a sort of a ripple effect that enhances your career in one way or another. In other words, you may not have anything to fear from all 6 planets squaring your sun. That's a lot to overcome. It means you're not going to get your way, just like Aries isn't. It means you'll have to conform more. But there could be a really good announcement or decision made that could affect others, and it might leave a few openings for you, Libra. So keep your eyes and ears open, because there is the possibility that you could advance simply because there's more opportunities soon. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, remember I said there are no planets in fixed sign except in yours, and that is because Mars, your own ruler, and Jupiter are in your sign, and they are being trined beautifully by Neptune in Pisces. And so that means, since you sort of have no restrictions upon you right now, that justice will be done, and it will be done with the help of others behind the scenes who know the real truth about lies and cover-ups. And so they could whisper in your ear, Scorpio, and you could be instrumental in seeing that justice is done. And that would be good. Unless, Scorpio, you had been trying to hide anything, because I can guarantee you that would come out as well. So it sort of depends on if you're on the side of the angels or not. So I hope you are. There also could be some money that you didn't know about that could be around that might be coming your way as soon as you discover that. And also the new moon in Capricorn sextiled your sun. And since it had Pluto in Capricorn, in good aspect to your sun sign, it reinforces the fact not only that we are entering a new era, but that justice is really going to be done, and it will be fair and balanced and based on proven facts and results. So if you're on the side of the angels, it's going to do you a world of good. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when there aren't any planets in the fire signs except Uranus in Aries, and it is beleaguered, so it can't help you very much. But the good news is, Sagittarius, that first of all, there are no planets in your sign. That hasn't happened in years, but now that Saturn has moved out of your sign and is in Capricorn, along with all those other planets, 6 of them right ahead of your sun sign, it simply means that you are in a very good position right now, Sagittarius, as we're entering a new era, to sort of get in on the ground floor of something. So I don't mean that you're going to rise quickly to the top or get your way, but you could be joining a very reputable corporation or a very solid government agency that can offer long-term benefits, and they could find an opening for you. And it is also possible that you can develop a new attitude about moving slowly but surely, just taking one step at a time, in order to climb a tall mountain, and in other words, to achieve a goal of yours. And you can do it if you push that goal out to 2020 so that you have plenty of time to allow for setbacks and delays. So I think this is when you're going to get real serious about business in one way or another, Sagittarius, and you can succeed as long as you're patient and steadily move forward. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Oh, Capricorn, this is probably the best new moon in your life. And that is because not only were the sun and the moon there, but there were 6 planets there. The sun and the moon were conjuncting Venus, though. And that is an indication for you, Capricorn, that there can be a very good, solid decision made soon in your favor. And it would be based on proven facts and results. So you don't have anything to worry about as far as that goes, Capricorn. So I don't know when it's coming. Doesn't mean it's coming right away, but it will come. And it is being, the new moon in your sign yesterday was so beautifully fortified by sextiles from 3 other planets, the planets in the water signs that are trining each other, that this is a time when entering a new era for you means that you are going to be on really solid footing, that you really know what you want. You have a way of knowing also what you don't want, and that's good. You can cut that out, and you can go forward. And I would say, Capricorn, this is a time when you really need to listen to yourself and no one else, because you know what you're doing, and you're willing to take time to allow for delays and succeed. So you can do that. So keep that long-range goal in mind, Capricorn, because if you just go steadily, you can achieve it by 2020 or before. The sky's the limit. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time, since there are no planets in the air signs, where there isn't any possibility of you being able to talk yourself in or out of anything. But there is a lot of change going on in the background of your life, Aquarius, because those 6 planets in Capricorn were right behind your sun sign. And so what it basically means is that in the background of your life, you have to concentrate much more on results and hard work and accountability. And what could the results be about? Finances, because Mars and Scorpio are squaring your sun, and that means you've got to solve some money problems before you can do anything else, Aquarius, so good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time when I think that you are going to be an angel to somebody behind the scenes who's interested in seeing that justice is done. And that is because this is a wonderful time, Pisces, when there is not a single planet making a harsh aspect to your sun sign. In other words, you can go forward now, and you're not going to have any trouble from anybody about that. Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio are trining your sun. If there are financial problems that you are worried about, there could be some more money coming your way, or a better job. In other words, you could afford more things. And you too are going to be helped out immensely by the 6 planets in the new moon in Capricorn, because they all sextile your sun and represent that when you need help or you need to rely on people who are older or more experienced, they will be there. So there's going to be a wonderful mentor around, and perhaps a good decision in your favor soon. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and hear the podcast on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.